I wouldn't have said that I had.
You didn't have that perspective.
No, I didn't.
You didn't see yourself that way.
I didn't see myself that way, right? So for me, literally, I had to kind of bump my head into being able to see myself the way other people see me.
They could already see you walking in your purpose, but you didn't have the vision to see.
I didn't have it, right?
Because you're too close to it.
I think there's a lot to that, right? We talk a lot of times about, only being able to see in 2 dimensions, right? Like we can't see us 3-dimensionally. Like when we look in the mirror, this is all we get, right? This. So but everybody else has the opportunity to see us 3-dimensionally. So they can see us all the way around. Like I've never seen the middle of my back. I don't know what the middle of my back looks like. I can't see that far. I can't even scratch that. Right? You know what I'm saying? So
relatively unknown. Let's go. We up and coming, we fun and we really relevant. Yeah, we giving hope, we super dope, you know we heaven sent. If you sick and low, you need a dose, we got the medicine. Probably never heard of us before, but you gon' let us in. I told y'all boys before that we coming, ready to give it to anybody that want it. We bringing y'all the truth and keeping it 100. You may not know it now, but soon we gon' run it. We gon' run it, it's my promise. Y'all better get ready, cause we coming. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe.
Well, go like, share, and subscribe. What's going on, everybody? It's your guy, Philip Edge.
And it's your girl, Carrie Edge.
And you are tuning into the Relatively Unknown podcast, where this is literally the home for all of those up-and-coming people. Listen, if you're an up-and-coming, look, we're here to talk to you. We are literally here to talk to you and chop it up to you as we talk about relatively unknown stories, relatively unknown people, and give you hope, encouragement, inspiration. That is what we do. You like that? Every day.
You might be relatively unknown, but it's just a season.
It's just a season.
It's just a season.
Hey, I feel like a song, like in my shana now. It's just a season. Where's my man Demetrius when I need him, right?
Yeah, you definitely need Demetrius if you're going to be singing.
That's what's up. Well, listen, before we even jump into the session on today, you know how we do. We got to kick this thing off. We got to talk a little bit and do, what's going on?
What's going on?
That part right there. So
hey.
I want to turn it to you, Carrie Edge. What is going on with you? How was your week?
My week was, it was rather nice.
Okay.
So I had spring break for the first time.
Hey.
Since I started my master's program.
Okay.
Since I started grad school. So my professor in my practicum class, she said, y'all are taking the week off, period.
I like that.
And shout out to Dr. S.J. Ford. I think it's J or W.
It's one of them.
Yes.
One of them Fords.
So Dr. Ford, she made us take the week off this week, and that was really super nice. So ramping up to get ready for my second to last academic class.
Come on now, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
about. But it was a good week, and you were home this week. You weren't traveling.
Yes. I was home this week, and I honestly enjoyed being home this week. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
Well, I always enjoy being home, but it was more special after having been away.
Yeah, because you hadn't been away like that in a while. Since COVID.
I know.
Edge and Associates has been doing a lot of virtual trainings and facilitation.
Yep.
But you had a company that said, hey, we want to bring you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know you, to some chagrin, you were kind of like, oh, I know I look good and you want me in person and all. But,
it was actually kind of funny because when they asked, they're like, hey, I'm ready to do this in-person stuff. Would you be willing to come? I was like, in person?
In person?
Like, are you sure? Mm-hmm. Right, you know what I mean? Because we hadn't done that in such a while. But I will say it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jump back in there, did what I did, and we just do what we do.
Yeah.
But I also realized though that I don't necessarily want to be going up and down the road.
That's why there's associates.
Correct.
Edge and Associates.
Correct.
So as we
I'm not as young as I used to be.
These young folks, and they can go. They don't have ties to home, and we can send the children. We can dispatch the children and deploy them out to do these trainings. So as we create a legacy for them, for those that want to
That's right.
engage.
That's
in
right.
That.
And I will just go ahead and say this for those of you who do not know, we have been in the process of transitioning from a business standpoint. Business is growing. As Antonio Brown would say, business is booming, right? So boom. So business is doing extremely well. But in part of business doing extremely well, we kind of had to start looking at a plan to set up a plan for long-term legacy, and that's one of the things that we've been doing to get some things situated, not only for our children, you know what I mean, but also to get some things situated for what we call the legacy, right? And
the
other
children's
people,
children, and so forth and so on, and whoever else that God might see fit to put in our pathway that fits the mission and vision of Edge and Associates.
So if that's you and you think you might fit the mission and the vision of Edge and Associates, I mean, you might just want to, give us a holler. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we might be growing.
That's right.
Well, we are growing.
We are growing.
Yeah,
we definitely are growing.
I've got some things on the burner, working on some training and facilitations and some other things.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Just excited about that direction for sure.
Yeah.
And excited to have you home though.
Well, I'm glad to be home. Unfortunately,
I gotta go out of town this week.
Gotta go out of town this week.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I got to go out of town this week, and literally just to get back on the road. I don't know how often I'm gonna be doing this, but they like me, so it's
hey, that's a good thing. When your clients like you,
that's a good thing.
That's really, really good. I can imagine that is the transition initially. When COVID hit and our whole lives went virtual, except for with those we lived with, and now like starting the process to transition back.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've found is that, being around other people is so energizing.
Right.
And it makes you feel as if you belong.
Right.
Yeah. Being around other people gives you a place, a space.
And it's so interesting that you bring that up, because I know that I realize that, again, from the standpoint of I'm an extrovert. Right. So a lot of times we think about introverticism. I made that up, I think, right?
Yeah,
being
I'm
an
not sure
introvert
that's a real
versus being an extrovert.
I don't even think
right?
I can say that.
Introverticism. But being an introvert versus being an extrovert, right?
Yeah,
a lot of people think that has to do with, whether you like people, whether you don't like people. But in honesty, it has nothing to do with people.
No, because introverts like people too.
Correct. It has everything to do with energy and how you receive and gain energy, right? So extroverts like myself and like you, we gain energy from other people. So when I'm in a room with other people, it's just like they're filling up your boy's gas tank. It's and I'm ready to go. But I've also realized that when I'm in a place of isolation, like even working from home and just working out of the office, I've noticed that I'm being drained.
Yeah, you got to get out of this space.
I got to get out of this space.
Get some energy. The same thing for me. I'm pretty much like right smack in the middle as far as introversion and extroversion, and a little bit more of an extrovert. So I do draw my energy from people. But one of the things that I found when I facilitate groups, it's like I can connect better to them when I'm in their presence, like physically in their presence.
Right.
And there's so many more cues that you can pick up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see body language somewhat, but you can see so much more, and just the way the atmosphere is. You can feel the whole group's vibe. In that atmosphere and be able to like draw from that.
Yes.
And it like you said, it gives you fuel to be able to really deliver in the midst of a training or whatever you're facilitating. Maybe it's a discussion group, to really deliver what's being needed in that moment. So much more so than virtual. Well, so I'm glad we're getting back.
Yeah, and you said the right thing. You can feel it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
A lot of times in a virtual atmosphere, you can't feel it, right?
Yeah.
You can see it, but you can't feel it. And there's just something totally different about being able to feel the atmosphere and feel the environment. Hence why, honestly, I do like the live sessions better, but the virtual sessions are they do me just right.
Right. But then there are other people, and I'm sure there's some people watching maybe, and you all could give us, some input, let us know what you're thinking. if you're more of an introvert, feeling the safety and comfort of your own space
Right.
may allow you to open up more.
Right.
So, I mean, I think one of the things, and we didn't intend to go here, but COVID has really allowed us to see that there's more than one way to facilitate. And just like in learning, different people learn in different manners.
Right.
And so this is just another tool that can be used to help people to feel more comfortable in engaging.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. I really believe that when we think about it, first and foremost, it's let us know that this option of virtual is going to be around for a while. It ain't going nowhere.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
And it makes so much sense for your business. You know, like if you're running a business and you need to start really thinking about technology. If you haven't virtualized, I made another word. If you haven't virtualized your business, like you need to figure out how can you translate what you do to transcend time and space, because literally that's what it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because you've been in here and it might have been like dark 30, I think like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And you were training like in Japan or somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you weren't in Japan.
Right.
You were here at 1 o'clock in the morning. Good thing it was your client, not mine, because I turned into a pumpkin after 9. But you were able to reach people all the way across the globe.
Yeah. And it's amazing how you can literally reach people anywhere through technology now. And I'll just say this because, again, we didn't necessarily plan on going this direction, but I think it's a good thing to talk about. There are one or two things that can happen, especially around technology. Either A, you are going to learn it, understand it, and utilize it to help you to maximize whatever it is that you're trying to do, or B, it's going to overtake you.
It's going to learn you.
It's going to learn you.
You're going to learn today.
Because the truth of the matter is technology is not going anywhere, right? And so instead of being mad at the technology, let's just
so a little controversy with the AI.
Well, let's figure it out, you know?
Use it to your advantage.
Well, let's go ahead and bring it up, right? So one of the things I know we've been talking about is AI, i.e. The newest kid on the block, ChatGPT, right?
Yeah. And we do have a new employee.
Yeah, we do have a new
Ms.
virtual
VA,
assistant.
She works for you.
Yes. Her name is Viola, right? But the reality is ChatGPT is an AI platform, which I know for our business, it literally allows me to do in 20, 30 minutes what would have taken me 3 to 5 hours. And that's just being very, very real. So as a small business, as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, using artificial intelligence is an amazing tool and technology that we can use. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, for those of you who know the name, he actually he came on. He had a post, I don't know, a couple months ago when ChatGPT first came out, and he was talking to schools because the school systems were in an uproar because kids figured out how to use ChatGPT.
Kids are
and baby, the crazy
savvy.
thing was the teachers were assigning students like papers to write. And literally they would take the parameters of the paper, put it in ChatGPT, and in less than a minute, ChatGPT would write the entire paper for them, right? And they would get an amazing grade. See, what people don't realize is, did you know this? ChatGPT took the SAT and the ACT, and the way it wound up, it didn't score perfect, but it was like a genius.
Wow.
So ChatGPT is like having a genius level assistant.
Yeah.
Right?
Which just means we have to educate differently.
We have to educate differently.
And we have to change the expectations.
Correct.
I mean, education has to change as the technology changes.
Correct.
We can't continue to try to input the same thing in our kids when the output is so different.
Exactly.
You know, we got to keep up with the times.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? So, times have always changed. They always have. It's never just stayed the same. You know, I remember, you know, growing up, we played Atari. You know, we had that one little stick with that one little button, right? But it transitioned to I remember getting a Nintendo. Now I had the 2 button, the A and the B, right? But then it transitioned to now we got like the games look like real people.
I mean, the kids nowadays, they have Chromebooks.
Yes. Yeah, we never had that.
They don't, you know, my mom and I were talking the other day. She said, well, did Zoe ever learn how to write in cursive? I said, for what?
She don't need that.
it's just really irrelevant. I mean, if she can write her name, however she writes her name, if she wants to be a symbol like Prince was, or, whatever.
Right.
But there's no point or purpose. So why are we wasting time educating our kids in a way that is irrelevant?
Correct.
To where they're going.
Well, and that's the thing. And Gary said this. Gary said, instead of trying to get our students to just like write papers, why don't we do things like, hey, listen, today we're going to do a presentation in class. Here are the parameters. Here are the things that we want you to know. And I want you to come to class ready to speak about this specific topic.
And then let's take it a bit further. So after everybody's spoken about it, then let's engage in a discussion.
Let's have a conversation about it.
It becomes then applicable. What we've learned is now applicable rather than just the rehash.
Right.
So kids are more well versed.
Yeah. So it was just super, super interesting how Gary spoke about this, how, ChatGPT is coming around. I know in New York City or the state of New York, I think ChatGPT has been banned now. I don't know how long that's going to continue to be banned, because it's not going anywhere, and it's just becoming smarter and smarter and smarter. So,
but we are smarter.
But we're always smarter. We're always smarter than the machines, right? And we have to remember that.
Unless we want to go conspiracy theory and go like Marvel or DC comic, and that
again
AI is going to take over the world.
We have to remember
it can't be scary because we don't fully understand it.
No, you're right.
All right,
it's very
but we
scary.
are not dumbing down our children by using technology.
No, just like we were not dumbed down when we started using technology.
Exactly.
Right? Same thing.
It's just different.
It's just a different sort of technology, which kind of, takes us to our conversation today, as we wanted to talk about how you can find your place and literally find your place by embracing your own uniqueness. That's today. How in the world do you find your place by embracing your own uniqueness? Here's the reality. All of us are different.
Yeah, thank goodness.
What I mean? Thank goodness. I mean, we're all newsflash, right? We're all different. And here's the thing: because we're all different, we gotta stop trying to be the same. Right? And it's so interesting to me, because I believe many times that we live in a world in which, although we say things like we're different, why is it that different always looks
the same?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I see some of our young students, and even some of our older people, they say things like, "Yo, I'm keeping it real. I'm trying to be me. I'm just doing me." But the reality is, in saying that and doing that, they kind of do what they look like with everybody else, right? You remember the other day when those red comic book boots came out?
Oh my God. Yeah. What in the world?
You remember the comic book
let's
boots?
get off of AI and let's talk about fashion. Now, if we really have a problem, this is where we really have a problem. They are wearing, is it plastic, rubber? What the heck? I mean,
they were comic. They were like, I don't know what they were called, but there were these red little comic book boot type things.
I mean, it looked like, Mickey Mouse boots or something or other.
That's exactly
our feet,
what it looked like.
By the way, our feet are not round. They're not round. Like, this is like a ball with a little stem. Like, our feet aren't round. Like, shoes are supposed to like fit the foot so that it's for walking.
Right.
Not for like what are those gonna do? You gonna bounce around?
Baby, I have no idea.
I don't know, y'all.
All I know is there were a lot of people who were buying these boots and trying to buy these boots, and it became fashionable.
They probably cost thousands of dollars. I can't afford them anyway.
I think they were maybe $1,500. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for one or a pair?
Yeah, for a pair.
Okay. Let me go out and get about 5 pairs so everybody in the family got one.
Well, the funny thing was they were not. That wasn't the retail price. The retail price is maybe $100, maybe a couple $100.
They made them things for 13 cents.
They probably did.
They poured some plastic in a mold.
I don't even know if it was 13 cents,
and then
right?
Your foot gets stuck when you put it in there. Don't sweat in those. Your foot go in.
Your
honestly, foot come out.
Funny thing, there was somebody who did and they were literally trying to pull the people's feet out of that little boot thing.
Put some grease in it.
That was hilarious. That was
some
hilarious.
lard.
That was hilarious. Right. So when we stop and we think about it, what are ways that we can really embrace our own uniqueness and our own identity, so that because what I've realized is when you show up as yourself, you literally stand out from everybody else.
Well, you fit better, I think.
Well,
You can't be the same piece.
I like that.
So, life is like this big puzzle. If we're all the same piece, we're not going to make a picture.
That's good. That's good.
Because the same piece can't connect to the same piece.
Yeah.
We all have to be different.
Right.
So that we can uniquely fit together to make a true picture.
I like
So
it.
if you want to fit in, you got to stand out.
So if you want to be a part of the bigger collective,
You got to be you.
you got to be you, right?
Do your part. You can't do
that's so
somebody
rich.
else's piece
So you got to stand out
to fit in.
to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really, really dope when you stop and you think about it. It goes back and yeah, girl, you are fire, right? It goes back to what I know. I say this a lot of times, right? When I think about the way that God created all of us, right? There was a reason that I don't believe that God was just like, hey, I want a girl and another boy. And there was intention behind it, right? I think about the scripture where he says, when you were in the womb of your mother, I knew you, right? He says, I sanctified you. I set you aside, right? So thinking about this, there was a reason that he knew you. He set you aside. There was a purpose for your creation, right? So it's so interesting, as I know I share this with people a lot of times, that literally I personally believe that as God is working on us, right, and as He has created us, our biggest frustration in this world is trying to become that which we were delivered into this world to be.
I would take that a step further.
Let's go. Take it a step further.
I would say it's not so much in becoming what we're supposed to be. It's trying to overcome what the world wants us to be.
Yeah, that's good.
So, because we say we want to be different, but everything we're doing is the same.
Yeah.
So it's overcoming all the input and impression that's been placed upon us to truly be who we've been called to be. Because from the moment we were born, we were called something by someone else. Our name.
And you've heard it said, it's not what you call, it's what you answer to, right? So many times we get to the place where we're answering to things that's not us.
Exactly.
Right? People are calling us things and that's not us, right? But it's become such a normal thing. It's become the norm for us, the regular for us, that we've accepted it. And in accepting it, we've accepted lower than what we were created to be, which in turn then brings about this frustration in our lives, right? Because we're sitting there saying, I know that there's more to this world, and I know that there's more to me, right? So how can I find that thing? And if we never find that thing, we're perpetually frustrated.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about before, and we were talking about in terms of, in relationships with couples and expectations. We have to release our own selves from our own expectation.
Yeah.
And until we do that, we can't truly get through the mire and the muck to figure out who is it that I have truly been called to be.
Right.
But I'm like you. I believe that every person has been placed here on this earth to be a solution and an answer for something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may look similar to someone else, but it's never duplicated.
Correct. Well, it's just like our thumbprints or our fingerprints, right?
Yeah.
When we look at them,
no two are the same.
No two are the same. We all have them, but nobody has the same ones, right? So we can do similar things, but it's not the same thing, right?
Exactly.
So similar and the same it's still different. So at the end of the day, just because somebody is out doing X, Y, or Z, fill in the blank, whatever your thing is, that doesn't mean that you can't go out and do it your way. The way that...
And I think that's the biggest problem is because we see someone and we're drawn to what they do because it's a part of who we're supposed to be. But then instead of just doing it our way, we put ourselves under these expectations to try to do it the way they've done it.
Yeah.
And that's why we just struggle.
Right.
We get stuck.
Right. And honestly speaking, who is to say that the way that it was always done is... Watch me now. I'm not saying that it's wrong.
No.
But it may not be the right for this season.
Exactly.
Right?
Just like we're talking about with AI.
Yeah.
I mean, we can write papers, but we have to change up what that looks like.
Correct.
Right. It's going to need to be on the fly.
Correct.
In the moment.
Correct.
It's
going to have to be different for the season that we're in right now.
Exactly.
And if we're not working to do the different in the season that we're in right now, again,
there's no progression.
There is no progression. There's no fulfillment. You got a whole bunch of people mad, right? A whole bunch of people upset because they're still trying to figure this thing out. Because maybe we're trying to do the new thing through the old methodology, and that just doesn't.
And that's frustrating.
That doesn't work.
Then you just have frustration if you're trying to do something new through the old way. They don't. It's like putting new wine in old wines.
Correct.
Old skins.
Correct. I was thinking the same thing. Right.
You just can't do it.
You can't do that. So we have to find ways for us to literally be able to find our place. So I want to ask you, like I know that you are you perpetually like lean into like whatever God is speaking to you. Like the one thing I value about you is you are not afraid. I'm not afraid. Well, anyways, but like literally, you're not afraid to lean into what you feel from the unctioning of God in your spirit, right? So if it's, hey, I'm with, a nonprofit organization, I'm leaning into that. If it's, hey, I'm into, going back to school, I'm going to do that. If it's, hey, I'm going into mental health, I'm going to do that. Like whatever it is, like you have this ability to lean in and not be afraid. Whereas there are a lot of people who, honestly speaking, they ain't going to do that.
No.
They're going to sit in the mess. They're going to sit in the muck, and they're not going to step out there on faith. So for you, especially when you think about having to find your place, find your niche as you have, evolved, like how do you continue to evolve but always find your place?
Well, I think, and I've talked about this before, I think the game changer for me was realizing my purpose and finding what fulfills me.
Okay.
And understanding that the what that fulfills me can be dressed up differently.
Okay.
It comes in many different packages. So as long as I am helping others find their purpose, I can do that in any manner of capacity.
That's good.
So whatever that means.
That's good.
The other thing, I'm always reaching for what's needed most in the season that there's a need. Somebody was like, oh man, well, you're working for mental health and at the hospital now? I said, yeah. I said, I got to the place where I got tired of complaining that there weren't enough mental health professionals, and I decided to be a part of the solution.
Right.
So I guess that's just how I think. But, I boiled it down to the thing that's fulfilling for me is literally being able to help other people find their fulfillment in life.
That's good.
To live a life of purpose, to live a full life. And as long as I can do that, that's what gives me the energy and the motivation to do whatever it is. And it can be dressed in anything. And the vehicle doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's just about getting there. That's good. It's about making that progress. So, whether it's in a souped up minivan or, a Lamborghini, however I get there, it doesn't matter as long as I get there.
And I think in thinking about that, that's a great point that you actually bring up, because when you can get to the point to where you understand innately what drives you, what pushes you, where your passions and your desires are, the container then doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not what I do. And I'm going to use some really bad English, but I'm who I be.
That part.
It's in my being. So as long as I'm being, it really doesn't matter the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because I know my intention. What's in here, my being. And it's that being that gives me the drive. Yeah. So as long as I'm doing that, I can do it in any capacity, any realm, any area.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I've been stopping. I think about, just even from a business standpoint for me. We talk all the time, right? But our superpower is people, right? And people development and enhancing people, right? So I know personally for me, I'm working to try to eliminate negative mindsets and negative growth mindsets from people. So I don't care whether I'm in, large corporation X, or if I'm at a school delivering a keynote speech to the students, or if I'm at an elementary school reading a book, right? Or if I'm on at the gas station or at Walmart, it doesn't matter, because no matter where I go, no matter what I do, you're gonna catch me doing that. You're gonna catch me figuring out some kind of way where I can impart some sort of inspirational message to people so that they can be better. Literally, I know every single day when I wake up, one of my prayers is, God, I literally want to make sure that every person that I come in contact with, when they see me, they say, you know what, Philip made my day better.
Yes.
Like, honestly, like when I lay my head down at night,
Did I make somebody's day better?
That's what I'm asking. I'm like, God, did I make somebody's day better today? Did I reflect your love in a way that somebody's life was made better today? And if I can do that, I'm good.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, for me, I truly believe that when I am being who I am, right? When I am being who He created me to be, everything else is taken care of. I don't necessarily have to worry about, the money, the houses, the clothes, the car. I don't have to worry about that, because all of those things are provided because I'm being who He called me to be, right? And that's, for me, that's why it's so important to get in your place and literally be in a place where you can embrace your own uniqueness. Now, I can be honest and say, I don't necessarily know if I was always there.
Oh, no. I've just been, as we're sitting here talking, been thinking about, when did I have trouble finding my place, and really issues with embracing my uniqueness, and what was the difference between that time and this space that I'm in now. And I think it's maturation, and it's a sense of I'm okay with who I am in the world.
Yeah.
And the world doesn't define me.
Yeah.
I was born and created.
Yeah.
And in that is all the validation that I need. I don't need somebody to tell me that it's right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right.
But just be comfortable and confident in the skin that I'm in, and do it the way, I feel led to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's not in my doing, but it's in my being.
It's in your being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I can feel like I can remember as a kid, even a young adult, still just trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And doing things for the reason to fit in,
Correct.
I mean, I can remember when I wanted a Liz Claiborne purse, but my parents didn't have like Liz Claiborne money,
Right,
and
right.
tree torn shoes, and
Right.
but we could afford buddies or,
Right.
Whatever. But those were things. Those were all like superficial. Once I got beyond the surface, and stopped trying to have what everybody else had and embraced what I had.
Correct.
To be content. I
Yeah.
think, with maturation comes this contentment with who you are.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I was actually I had a friend of mine who he hit me up on Facebook, and he said something to me that was very interesting. As he was just kind of chopping it up about what I'm doing now and this, that, and the other. And he said, even when you were in high school, you always did that. And it was kind of interesting, because I remember when I was in high school, although I've always tried to be an individual, that was a tough place where you were still trying to find your identity, or trying to find who you were.
Yeah, you don't want to be too weird.
Right. Definitely don't want to be
too weird.
Right. But to hear somebody else's perception of what they saw of me then was so interesting, because I wouldn't have said that I had.
You didn't have that perspective.
Then. No, I didn't.
You didn't see yourself that way.
I didn't see myself that way, right? So for me, literally, I had to kind of bump my head into being able to see myself the way other people see me.
They could already see you walking in your purpose,
Right.
but you didn't have the vision to see.
I didn't have it, right?
Because you're too close to it.
I think there's a lot to that, right? We talk a lot of times about only being able to see in 2 dimensions, right? Like we can't see us 3-dimensionally. Like when we look in the mirror, this is all we get, right? This. So but everybody else has the opportunity to see us 3-dimensionally, so they can see us all the way around. Like I've never seen the middle of my back. I don't know what the middle of my back looks like. I can't see that far. I can't even scratch that. Right? You know what I'm saying? So but there are other people though who can see me in ways that I can't even see myself. And that is so real, especially when we talk about, trying to embrace yourself, embrace your uniqueness and find your place. It's hard to find your place when you don't even know what you look like.
Yeah.
Right?
I always tell people, like, what is the thing that you would do, or you have always done, and you would do it, you get up every day for it and do it for free.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same kind of thing. This is your purpose, the solution you are in this world. It's been functioning on the inside of you and drawing you towards things since the time the doctor slapped you on the backside and you cried. Yeah. I mean, it just has.
Yeah.
It's just the way the universe works.
Yeah.
It draws us to our purpose and our reason for being. And so I think everybody, you know, if everybody listening right now, if you just kind of think about, you know, what are the things that I've always done? What are the places where I feel like I'm in the zone?
Getting that flow
sweet
state.
spot. Yeah, get in the flow state.
Right.
Like, what is that? That is who you are.
Yeah.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
And you can, again, it can be dressed up like anything, and you can do that in any space that you're in.
That's why whenever you even go different places, people, they see who you are, right? So like you know, I tell a story all the time about I was in Texas. It was Dallas. I was in Dallas coming home from the airport. I was mad. Remember my flight got canceled. One of the only time my flight had ever been canceled.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in the airport.
Get canceled more than once?
Yeah, I had to spend the night in the doggone airport. Do y'all understand how uncomfortable airport chairs are? Like they're like you cannot anyways. But I'll never forget, you know, like getting up and I was reading my word and whatnot. And this young lady across the way, she looked and she's like, "You're a pastor, aren't you?" And I'm like, "How do you know this?" You know what I'm saying? I'm in Dallas early in the morning, mad.
Breath stanky.
That part. Want to cuss everybody out because I'm literally like, I want to be at home.
I want to go home.
And this lady's like, "But I see you. I see who you are."
And when people see who you are, regardless of the state you were in, when they speak to the who that you are, it calls you out of that state and makes who you are stand up.
So literally, when she called, I couldn't help but respond.
You couldn't.
I couldn't help.
You couldn't help but be.
I had to be who I was. And at that moment, all the frustration and the madness and all the stuff, all that stuff, it was out the window because I was now being who I was. I was now trying to do everything that I can to be a conduit to pour into this lady's life. And literally, as I began opening my mouth, and it was like God began speaking through me, and the tears welled up in that lady's eyes, and literally she got her breakthrough there in the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning. Everybody breath was stinking at 5 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yep, so they had to stay all night.
So literally, when she got her breakthrough right there, watch this, not only did it give her what she needed,
it gave you
but it gave me what I needed.
Right? Because that's when we find our place.
Yes.
It gives us what we need.
Yeah.
To. It's fulfilling to us.
It fulfills us.
Yes.
And literally, like, as mad as I was about having to spend the night, God spoke to me and he said this. He spoke through me and he told that girl, he said, "I am willing to stop the entire world to deliver a message to you." So when I really had a moment to process that, I was like, "So God, this is what all this is about."
Kind of feeling like my bad, God.
I was over there ready to, you know, I'm ready to cuss up a storm. I'm ready to be mad. I'm ready to be frustrated. But God's like, "But hold on."
I needed you to talk to this young lady.
God was going after the one.
Because he never leaves the one behind.
No. God, listen, I don't know how many flights were impacted. How many storms impacted all the not just in Dallas, but all across the southeastern United States. Everything was impacted.
Yeah, because they could have sent you somewhere else to get where you needed to go. But they had to shut down the whole world just to talk to one young lady.
You understand how powerful that is?
I do.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, wow. You know, God, you would do all this. And let me even say this. And you would use me?
Furthermore, you would use me. Not me, Lord.
The dirty cup. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
The mad cup.
That was thinking in curse words.
The cuss word cup, right? Right? You would use me in this situation? But God, I'm a hot mess. And God be like, Okay, with your hot mess self, go and get out of the way because I've placed you here to use you, right? I play like literally the whole, because you remember I wasn't even supposed to go on that trip.
I know.
Remember, I wasn't even supposed to be there. And I was filling in for somebody else, which made the fact that the plane got canceled.
That made you more frustrated.
It made me even more mad.
But it made, the story even more amazing. And that's the way he works.
That's the way he does it.
That's when you are in your place.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to find your place.
Yes.
And finding your place isn't about stuff on the external. It's about in here. Finding your places.
Find your place.
Find your place.
It's an inside job
it's
that manifests itself on the outside.
Externally.
Right? Because and I'll say this to those of you who are watching. Here's the reality. The reality is you will never be content with who you are searching external fulfillment. External fulfillment will never provide for you the thing that the internal thing can only fulfill, right? What you are looking for is not out there. What we've realized is what you are looking for is in here, right? So we have to get to the place where we stop looking externally to find something that's already hidden.
That's why
right here.
Doesn't matter where I'm employed, what the badge says.
It's in here.
It's in here.
I
can take that anywhere and find my place.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am. Because it's in here.
Yeah.
And I take it everywhere I go.
And that right there, I think that says and speaks it all, right? So I'm gonna ask this question. For those of you who are watching us live, for those of you who are watching us on the replay, for those of you who are listening to us on the podcast, what are you doing to find your place and embrace your specific uniqueness? Please know and understand that you were created as a unique being. There is nobody like you. I don't even care if you're a twin, triplet. It doesn't even matter. But there is nobody on this earth like you, right? You are the only puzzle piece like you on this entire planet. Therefore, you are the only one who can fulfill the role and the assignment that you have been given. So I want to charge you today to find your place. I want to charge you today to embrace your uniqueness. And literally in the comments box, on wherever you can feel something on YouTube, on Facebook, it doesn't matter where. Listen, I want you to write, what is your place? What is your individual unique? What is the thing that you can do that can't nobody else do? What is that thing for you? I want you to write that down.
Yeah. I think really the key is the world is very noisy. And we just don't take the time to get to know ourselves. And that really is the key. Like you said, it's not the external things. We're just trying to find ourselves externally, and you can't do that. Those are just pacifiers.
That's so good.
But they're not really nourishing you. So take the time to really nourish yourself by just slowing down and finding out who you are. When's the last time you dated you?
Wow.
When's the last time you really asked yourself some of those tough questions?
Yeah.
And, again, sometimes we're just so close we don't see it. And it's time for us to slow down. Block out the noise. So if you found yourself like you feel like I don't fit in anywhere I go, I always feel like a fish out of water. The real key is for you to slow down and find out who you are.
That's good.
Ask yourself.
That's good. That's good. Because again, once you find who you are,
it don't matter where you are.
It don't matter where you are, and your whole life will be changed forevermore. So, with that being said, look, this is the edge life, man. This is relatively unknown. This is us. This is in raw, real form.
Yeah.
We came live today.
The hair.
Yeah. We went live
Got
today.
natural.
This is not formatted. This is not us. Nothing. There are no notes to this. This is just us really being who we are, so that we can deliver who we are to who you are, so that we can all grow together. And with that being said, y'all, look, we'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah.
At the same time. Relatively unknown. We'll see y'all next week, man. Y'all be easy.
Be easy.
Peace.
Relatively unknown. Let's go. We up and coming, we fun and we really relevant. Yeah, we giving hope, we super dope, you know we heaven sent. If you sick and low, you need a dose, we got the medicine. Probably never heard of us before, but you gon' let us in. I told y'all boys before that we coming, ready to give it to anybody that want it. We bring you out the truth and keep it at 100. You may not know it now, but soon we gon' run it. We gon' run it, it's my promise. Y'all better get ready, cause we coming. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, gon' like, share, and subscribe. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe.